which is funny how almost every foreigner has something to say badly about African Americans. Even Africans sometimes have to say about African Americans, but then everybody comes to America trying to be African American.
Willie D Live.
You know, so that's why I think they give England a pass, because we put England at this high regard.
Yeah,
you know,
I think like you said,
royal family.
It's that royal family.
Yeah.
It's the horses. And
the horses and the accent. And even the guards. Even the actors.
Yeah.
Look at all the actors now that are taking over a lot of the American jobs. They're all taking over the American job. I thought Idris Elba was from Baltimore. After watching The Wire, I said, who's that dude from Baltimore? Then I watched him on the BBC. This motherfucker was like, well, I did The Wire. What do you mean, The fuck? I said, I thought he was from America. No. Kahlua, who played Fred Hampton. He's a British African guy. You got the girl from...
Now, I'm going to tell you, that offended the shit out of me, bro.
Which one? Oh, when he
played Fred Hampton.
From Chicago.
All these great black actors right here in the U.S. who know the struggle, who actually can identify directly with what Fred Hampton went through.
That was a little weird.
Man, go get his son. If at the very least, go get his son, because his son is a spitting image of him.
Yeah, and have him do it.
Super intelligent.
Yeah.
I'm talking about super intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
He would have killed it.
I don't know how
that really offended me.
Yeah, and it's like, what? And listen, not downing him, Daniel Kaluuya, as an African, a Nigerian American. I love him. He's a great actor. But there's certain things that, why can't we just do that? Like, what's her name? Erivo. That Cynthia Erivo, who's playing Wicked, the witch in Erivo, she said some really disparaging shit about African Americans. And then she ends up playing...
Is she British?
She's British Nigerian.
Okay.
If I'm right, I better be right, because I want to make sure if I'm not, you guys can go in the comments and go, he don't even got it right. That motherfucker don't say nothing right. You know how she said some disparaging shit about African Americans.
What did she say?
I want to make sure I quote it right, but if you can get your producers to find it, that would be cool.
Mario,
because I don't want to say anything out of pocket. And she said some shit about, which is funny how almost every foreigner has something to say badly about African Americans. Even Africans sometimes have fucked up shit to say about African Americans, but then everybody comes to America trying to be African American.
And benefit off of our struggle and the work that we put in.
Yeah. And what's really fucked up is she ended up playing Harriet Tubman. I go, wait a minute, you just talked about and shit on African Americans, and you're going to talk about the woman that did so much for African American freedom? You get to play her? You're fucking playing Harriet fucking Tubman? Are you out of your fucking mind? Harriet Tubman would have smacked the shit out of you if you said what you said. How could you say that? How could anybody that looks like you come into America and talk about African Americans when they are the ones that have created the foundation for foreigners to come in? The 1964 Civil Rights Bill is the reason why Koreans, Nigerians, Indians, Arabs can come in and open up businesses in black neighborhoods and still disrespect the fucking same people that are putting money in their pockets. What kind of fucking nerve is that? It's the serious hatred of African Americans in this country. It's in the soil. It's in the fucking soil, like my boy Dante says. That's my co-host. He says it's in the soil. That it's almost patriotic to hate black people. It's patriotic. It's part of the.
Damn.
It's part of that.
Oh damn.
Yeah, it's part of the American thing to hate black people. Because let me tell you, I got proof. My Vietnamese friends, I say, why you keep calling us Midang? And my friend Duck, it's Duck. It's not Duck, it's Duck. We used to call him Duck. He says, they tell us, the government tell us to be careful of black people. They tell us that. Yeah. The white people, they tell us, be careful of black people. And I ended up being their friends. My father and my parents buying them clothing. And you got black people giving you clothing and black people hanging out with you and teaching you football and all this other shit. And they told you to stay away from black people. You know, you know what I'm saying? They taught them that shit. And Richard Pryor has a good joke. Rich Pryor had a good one in the 70s where he's like, yeah, you said them Vietnamese motherfuckers come into town in America, right? He said the government says, hey, if you call them a nigger, you're an American. Some shit. Nigga, 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 nigga. You ever hear him say that shit?
No, I didn't hear.
Yeah, Richard says it perfectly. He's like, man, them motherfuckers is racist than motherfucker. He's like, because the white folks tell them, if you say nigger, then you're American. Nigga, 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 nigga. Yeah, even Richard Pryor talked about that. And it's sort of like, it's a patriotic thing to hate black people. That's like a normal thing. It's if they gave you a pamphlet, they'll say, oh yeah, and hate niggers. Because every other race, and this is not me downing every race. Of course, there's good people in every race. I want to always state that. This is not to appease anybody. It's just facts.
But shoe fit wear, goddammit. Shoe fit wear.
Yeah,
whoever the shoe fit. If you in whatever particular group
it's
that
like
you
in,
in,
got. And
if he talking about you, his dog gonna holler.
No doubt. And it's always like every other race is calling you a nigga in their language, whether it's their language. They always say something despising. Mexicans will call you mayate. Oh, fucking mayate. They go, really, Mexicans? We got your back like a motherfucker. There are black Mexicans, too. You got black Mexicans in Oaxaca, Mexico. You got a lot of African roots. A lot of Mexicans helped slaves back in the day. They did. They took them into their houses. There's all that history of blacks and Mexicans like this. That's why when you see this disparity of blacks and Mexicans fighting, it makes no sense. I believe it's America. America constructed us to stay away from each other. That's why they say, don't read no history. Keep all that shit out.
Well, they did the same thing with keeping the blacks in America away from the blacks in Africa. You know, all of it was a part of the social construct. And they're continuing to do it.
The reason why... Remember we had the Asian hate bill? Remember how fast that shit got signed? Why did that shit get signed so fast? This is what I believe. Because China, which is a superpower, was like, you might want to get your shit together because America can't afford to fuck with the Asians in America. Chinese are connected to their people. The Chinese are connected to Asia. So they're like, oh, you want to play games with us? You better get that shit, get that bill signed. Why aren't black people getting a bill signed? What about the anti-black bill that should have been signed 200 years ago? It's not signed. You know why? Because I believe this. We're not connected to Africa. They purposely, the one thing that, okay, J. Edgar Hoover said this, who's part black too, by the way. They're finding out he's part black. J. Edgar Hoover said that the biggest threat to American security is Negro progress. Black people getting together. We have to stop any Messiah. That's why that movie was called The Messiah. We have to stop any Messiah from leading anybody. That's why they took down leaders all the time. We can't get black people to come together. Africa, do you know in Africa, you can't even travel to another neighboring country without a passport? You can't. In Europe, you can go anywhere you want to. And Europeans get to travel all around Africa without passports. But Africans, South African can't go to an East African country, can't go to a neighboring country. If I want to go to Zimbabwe, I need you got to have all these passports.
Whose fault is that?
Well, it's our fault for letting them in.
Boom.
It's our fault for letting them in and being nice because, listen, black people, whether they're Caribbean, African-American, Afro-Cuban, we're just giving people. We're a circular people, man. We're circular. You know what a circle is? A circle invites everybody in. You know, you can make this, anybody can join a circle. Remember when you have big circle? It can be never ending and infinite because everybody can fit in a circle. Europeans are linear. They're linear. They believe in lines like you have yours, I have mine. I face your back, I face your, you know what I mean? But when you're in a circle, you see everybody's face, everybody's included. That's what Africans do. That's what Native Americans do. We're circular people, man. You know what I mean? We dance in circles. We're circular. That's why we're forgiving. Look at how forgiving. I want to go with African Americans. Look how forgiving African Americans are. As much hell as African Americans are, the way they're treated, we should be going around ripping people's fucking heads off, but we don't. We go, you know what? We judge people by if they cool with us. Oh, no, he cool, man. He's a cool white dude. He's a cool Asian dude. He's a cool. And at the same time, they're fucking calling us niggas. We ain't shit. But we always are judging people by their characters, even other black people. We go, I don't like that motherfucker. That's because of our nature.
I was about to say, is that because of some natural humanitarian thing that's in us, or is it because of fear or some type of cowardness.
It's not. I don't think we're cowardly. I just think we hope that. I think we hope that. I think we always believe there's hope in someone.
Well, why don't we have that same amount of hope for each other?
For each other. That's a good one.
How come we're not as forgiving when it comes to each other?
Each other, because they trained us to be that way. Slave mentality back in the day. They, house niggas, field niggas, colorism, embarrassing, fucking black men in the ass in front of their families, emasculating black men in front of their families. Letting other slaves letting a black man watch the other slaves. You remember they would let a black dude be on watch, the overseer. He's like, you niggas better, don't you, little, fiddler type shit. Yeah. So pitting us against each other, doing that for hundreds of years, it was brilliant. So that's why when we see our own people, we mean mug each other.
It was wicked.
We mean mug each other. We go, we got to get them to hate each other, right? We're gonna get them, but they're going to think we're the greatest things in the world. That's why they're going to be forgiving to us. And then we're going to top it with religion. We're going to put religion on there, put this white Jesus up there, because we got to keep that white image. And we're going to be these divine gods. They're going to be all white. So now we got you brainwashed with church, because first of all, with slaves, church was serious. That was like a shelter. Blacks would go to church. That would be that Sunday to praise and, you know what I mean, and be together. And so you got church, you got pitting each other against each other, you got colorism, you got hierarchies during the slave time, you got rape and pillaging and brainwashing of black men and black women and fear of what will happen to you if you try to run away. All of that, yeah, you're going to hate each other. Why do you think in this business, and I'm calling it out, Willie, I'm calling it out, black comedians are some of the worst motherfuckers when it comes to sticking together. That's a fact. I'm not talking about every black comedian. There's some black comedians that do help. They have their little pockets, but we stink. The white boys, I'm keeping it 100. These motherfuckers will do anything to do better than us. They will all go on each other's podcasts. If you haven't noticed that shit, look at Rogan. Man, you know how many motherfuckers I know, white dudes that be on on his podcast? Some of them don't even be that great.
But Rogan put everybody on, though.
He puts...
He don't discriminate.
I didn't say he discriminates, but his majority of guys that is on...
That's true. The majority...
Unless you're a really famous black dude that he's a fan of.
Yeah.
But other than that, Rogan... And I'm complimenting him.
But I've also seen some not so famous black comedians on his show.
Which is good. I saw Ali Sadiq, which I was happy he was on there. Ali deserves that shit.
Yeah.
But majority of his guys are white dudes but after they get to Rogan, their numbers go up, they're selling out shows. That's the way you fucking do that shit.
Right.
That's the way you do. That's why I ask guys, you want to come on my podcast? I'm not Rogan numbers, but if I were ever to be I would love to be able to king motherfuckers. Oh, hey man, I got on Godfrey's show. I'm selling out show. Who doesn't want to do that? Yeah, but a lot of us are very like, I don't want him to have anything. Or we'll be in a room and someone brings up a name and you shit on them in that room because you're a fucking mini gatekeeper. This shit happens, and I know about it because people tell me. I know people in these rooms. I'm not calling any names because that would be foolish because nobody's here to defend themselves, but it's the truth. All this talent we got, and we barely help each other, and anytime we do get in the public, we're dogging each other. Like, oh, this nigga, he ain't. That's all we're good for? White boys they never do that shit. And we go, now, how is this white dude getting all this? I go, let me tell you why. Because he helps his friend. They help that friend. They all right. And listen, don't worry. I'm not ignoring the fact that, of course, they're white. They're going to give whatever the fuck they want. You can be average and white and get a lot of shit. They run it. I get it. But the one thing that never fails is unity, man. Nothing ever fails when you have support. Regardless of when you have support, that's how the black circuit started. Back in the day, in the early 1900s, the Toba circuit with Pigmeat Mark and Red Fox, LaWanda Page, and all those great comics, they got together and formed their own shit and started working. That's where black comedy came from. So it's not impossible for us, but it's just the scarcity. because they planned it that way. You know, they'll let one black person be famous, give them everything. So now they got all us being mad at this one particular person. Now we're mad at this person because they're doing so well and they only give us scraps. So we're all fighting for one spot. White dudes got 70 spots to fight for.